Someone asked me not too long ago to name my biggest failure. And I sat with that question, like really sat with it, scanning back through my life, my career, my business, my relationships, my decisions. And I genuinely could not think of one. And it's not because my life has not been without difficulty, because trust me, it's been a life, right? It's not because I haven't made choices that didn't work out or pursued things that just, didn't go the way I thought they were going to go. I've literally had experiences that have broken me open in ways that I absolutely could not anticipate, but my brain could not locate a failure. And so that sent me down the path, because the question then became, have I actually not failed? Right? I was literally like, wait, have I not failed? Or have I just conditioned my mind to understand that what somebody else calls failures, I like have been able to transform how I see that entirely. Okay. And the answer was the second one. And today, that's what I want to show you, how that conditioning works, why it matters, and how you can build it deliberately. Okay. I'm Dr. Toya Davis. I make the invisible visible. Let's get into it. All right. So, welcome to Soul Aligned Living. If you're new here, go ahead, subscribe, hit the like, share button before you leave. Drop in the comments before we go any further. What's the last thing you labeled a failure in your life? Right? I want to know. Because that's the label that we are going to work with today. So everything that I'm talking about, is just from me working with people who are stuck, not because, they lack the ability, but I recognize that people store experiences in categories, right, that keep them from moving forward. And so I want us all to move forward. All right, so let's go. The word failure is not neutral, right? We know that language isn't neutral. Language has power, right? Words have meanings. And so the word failure carries a weight, a moral weight, an identity weight. And when you label an experience as failure, you are not just describing the outcome. You're making a statement about what that outcome actually means. Okay. So the experience gets stored as failure. It goes into a category in the nervous system, and then the nervous system treats it as a threat to avoid in the future, right? It becomes evidence that you are someone who fails, right? And that this particular area, this thing, this venture that you tried is dangerous. And so then trying it again carries the same risk of experiencing that same thing. Okay. And that is why people get stuck. Not because, oh, I lack discipline, or, oh, I just lack the motivation, or whatever. No, it's because the brain is doing what it's designed to do: avoid confirmed threats. But here's what actually happened. Okay. With that experience that you labeled a failure, you made a decision with the information you had. The outcome was different from what you intended, but now you have new information that you didn't have before. That's the full description of what occurred. The failure label is an interpretation layered on top of the sequence of events. Okay. And it is an interpretation you have been conditioned to apply. And it's not one that is objectively true. Okay. And that conditioned interpretation is running beneath every choice that you make going forward. And that's why the label matters, and understanding how we categorize it matters. Okay. So when I work with someone around failure, whether it's a business that didn't go as planned, a relationship that ended, a decision that they're still carrying shame about, the first thing that we have to dive into is the belief underneath, right, the label or the situation. Like, what is the belief under here? Because failure is always a conclusion, and the conclusion had to come from somewhere. Some of the most common beliefs underneath the failure label is, if I don't succeed at everything I attempt, something is wrong with me. Struggle means I'm going in the wrong direction. People who are capable don't have to try more than once, right? But here's the big one. If I needed to pivot, I must have made the mistake. And these are real things that have come up for me, okay? And what I want to say is that those are not truths. They are all of them and any other variation and iteration of that you can come up with are installed beliefs. Okay. Some came from childhood. We absorbed it during childhood. Some have been reinforced by culture, right? And the larger kind of achievement systems. And then some comes, of course, through our ancestral lineage, and they've been handed down lineally, right? But they are running and constantly kind of in this, they're constantly running in the background, shaping how you interpret every experience that doesn't go as planned. Hear me when I say this. You cannot outwork an installed belief. You cannot hustle past it. You cannot affirm it away. It has to be identified, which is for me why awareness is always going to be step one, right? Whatever we're trying to work through and identify, coming into awareness is going to always be the thing, and then giving it a name, okay? Because that's how we get to shift through it, okay? So when we come into awareness, we get to move past the level of where this is like just conscious thought. Telling yourself failure is just feedback is a start, but if the belief underneath it still holds, it's still intact, if you are still storing difficult experiences as evidence of inadequacy, the reframe just kind of sits on top of something that hasn't moved, okay? So the work is to go underneath, to identify why that label and how that label is showing up, and then start to reframe that, right? Examine what's protecting the label. All right, so here's a personal story time. A few years ago, this was a long time ago, like I think I had moved back to Miami, so I don't know, it's been a while, but the Miami Dolphins had hired a new head coach, and he was giving his introductory press conference. And in the press conference, he said, we're going to fail forward fast. I was like, what? Why would the goal be to fail, right? Why is that the statement? I was so irritated by that statement, like fail forward fast. At the time, I thought it was the stupidest thing ever, right? The more I've grown and life has shown up, I understand it now, right? I understand it. What he was actually saying was that with anything, there's a process of growth. Setbacks aren't the exception. They're going to happen, right? It's a part of the design. And the variable that determines how quickly you reach the win is not if the setback happens, it's how long you stay inside of it, right? So fail forward fast means moving through the difficult experience quickly, extracting the information, adjust, keep moving, right? If it goes into the failure category, like, oh my God, I had this thing and I failed, you stop, you analyze, you doubt, you wonder if you should have tried it all, right? You manage the emotional weight of what the label of failure means about you. And then that costs you time, months, sometimes years, right? Think about the things that you have said that you failed in. Like, how long did you sit in that energy? Right? But if it goes into the learning category, your brain has been trained to receive a difficult outcome as data rather than the verdict. So it is trained to take what's useful and then allow you to move. So the timeline between setback and the next action gets compressed dramatically. Okay? And this is where I'm saying that, like, that compression and like how people move through that isn't luck, right? It's not personal. It is a habit and a mindset that we can shift and we can build. Right? And I know because I did it, right? And it wasn't, I really sat with like, have I always had this idea of like, there is no such thing as failure, or like, is this something that I've adapted and grown into over time? I'm not sure. I don't know. I think that again, when I think back over my life, I'm just literally still like, I have never failed. And I don't know, right? I don't know if I've naturally been wired to reprocess the things, right? If I've been given so much reinforcement, I don't know. And now in this iteration in my life where I'm like, everything is always working out for my best and highest good, I absolutely can't hold that frame of reference and hold the frame of reference of failure, right? The two things don't go together, right? So being in this mindset and understanding that failure is not a real thing, right? Failure is an opportunity for you to assess and move on, right? What about this thing? Okay, wait, what happened? Okay, great. And I think the other thing around this is like, it allows me, I always say, I think, you know, I'm team jump, figure it out later. And I recognize that not everybody is wired that way. But in business, it serves me well because I don't get stuck in, if I do this and it doesn't work, right? I will throw it out there and like, oh, that was great. Oh, wait, let's shift this. Let's change that. Let's do this. Okay, right. And now we get to this iteration of this thing. And oftentimes people want to start out perfect, right? You want to start out with the thing already being the thing. And life doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. Okay. You get to the best version of the thing by going through iterations of the idea, by going through the process to get to the version. Because the reality is sometimes we don't even know what the win is. We don't even know what the win is or what the win feels like. Because the thing that we think we want, sometimes we get, and it's like, oh, that doesn't feel good. I don't like that. I don't want that, right? And so we're taking information through those processes and adjusting and shifting. So release the idea of this thing is failure, right? Building the practice of not failing comes through a deliberate practice, through the work, right? It's kind of what I teach, is through a choice over and over again to refuse the failure label and ask a different question. So instead of saying, what does this mean about me? Right? We ask, what does this mean for what I do next? So there are 3 practices I want you to tap into that start to begin to build this shift. 1, audit the label before you accept it. So the next time you are in an experience that your brain immediately tags as failure, pause, ask what actually happened here, right? Describe just the events, not the meaning. That gap between the event and the interpretation is where the work lives. 2, ask what the experience gave you that you didn't have before, right? And this isn't like in a forced gratitude way. Practically, what do you know now that you didn't know going in? What has this experience made available to you? Okay, that question helps to redirect the brain from evidence gathering mode to information extraction mode. And then 3, measure your timeline. Start noticing how long it takes you to move from a difficult outcome to your next action. That timeline is the real metric. It's not whether hard things happen, because they're going to happen. It's how quickly you're able to extract what's useful and keep moving, right? As the timeline shortens, that is the shift working. Okay. So that's the work that I do. It's the work that I help other people to do, right? Moving beyond kind of surface level mindset work and into the actual patterns, the beliefs, the operating systems that determine how you navigate your life at the highest level. If this is something that you're interested in, if you're ready to kind of dive into this type of work, I invite you to check out my Sovereign Frequency Mentorship, where we go through 3 sessions, 3 kind of concentrated coaching, shifting, navigating sessions together to identify where there are beliefs, mindsets, blocks, programs that might be running underneath the surface of some of the actions that you're taking, right? And past identifying them, we work to dismantle them, disturb them, and then create new energetics and patterns and imprints that allow you to step into the best and highest version of your timeline. I want you to ask yourself, the things that you've labeled as failure, what have those things actually set you up for, right? Or did you let the label of it being a failure stop you? And then what can you go back to extract what you need from that experience so that you can move forward? Okay. And I am not trying to be like denial or toxic positivity. Everything is great, right? This is a deliberate cognitive and spiritual practice. And it's really one of the things that I give a lot of credit to with how fast I've kind of been able to move through life, right? Drop in the comments one experience you've been calling a failure that you're willing to re-examine today. All right. I'm Dr. Toya Davis. Subscribe if you haven't. I will see you in the next video. Peace.